Hello, welcome to the A to Z Studios YouTube channel. My name is Toby Allen. If you're new, I am in charge of producing and engineering. And if you're not new to the channel, then you're probably wondering where I've been. Been a bit busy, not gonna lie. I've been working with a few bands coming through the studio. Got some really cool releases coming from those bands very soon, so I'm very excited for you to all hear those. And also, this little one arrived in October. This is Amethyst, and she's been quite the distraction. Hello. So yeah, the channel was taking a little bit of a back seat, but we're back and we're going to be making more videos coming very soon. So I thought today we'd talk about my 5 favourite ML Sound Lab amp sims. Now you can consider this a sponsored video as I am an ML Sound Lab artist. However, they have not asked me to make this video and all thoughts and opinions expressed are my own. Mikko at ML Sound Lab is so good at capturing the sound of a real amp and making it into an amp sim that essentially whether you like one of their plugins or not comes down to whether you like the real amp or not. So if you try out one of their amp sims and you don't like it, chances are you won't like the real thing. Which amps I like in real life really guides which ML Sound Lab amps I'm enjoying the most. So let's go with number 5, which is Pink Sabbath. Now, anyone who knows me knows that generally speaking, I will say that clean tones are for peasants. However, if you are going to have a clean tone, then this is the one to go for. You've got essentially got 2 amps on here. One is the Pink and one is the Sabbath. The Pink is designed to sound like a high watt, similar to the sort of thing Dave Gilmour would have used in Pink Floyd. And it's really good at getting those kind of classic glassy kind of diamond kind of sounding clean tones. It's really, really lovely for that. And also you've got the Sabbath on there as well, which is great for getting a sort of gritty, filthy, fuzzy kind of doomy kind of sound on there as well. So you've got a really good mixture on there. Both tones are good for grimy metal, but also for the kind of cleany tones if you are wanting to get some peasant tones in your metal songs. Number 4 is ML800. The JCM 800 is probably one of the most modelled guitar amps out there, and there are loads and loads and loads of versions of the JCM 800 in plug-in form, but ML 800 is the best one. It's the one that sounds the most like a real JCM 800. I did have the opportunity to try a JCM 800 last year, and it's really, really lovely to play through if you get the opportunity, but if you don't, ML800 is the closest you'll get to that, in my opinion. I'm a big fan of like Tom Morello tones. So I have an LTD Viper which has an EMG H in the neck, which is the same pickup that Tom Morello used in Rage Against the Machine days, and it gets really, really, really close sounding. And I also just love like that kind of old school throaty Marshall sound, and sometimes quite often I'll blend that in with something a bit more modern to get a kind of real big massive kind of sound. The closest thing I can do at the moment in real life is using my Mode 4, which has a channel on there designed to sound like a JCM 800, but if I'm using plugins, then ML 800 is the one. Number 3 is the Fluff 2C. I'm not normally one who goes for Jar Jar Binks Mesa tones, particularly when it comes to like dual rectifier and triple rectifier. Those are cool, not necessarily things I would normally go for, but I am a big fan of the Mark amps and they sound really great. And the Fluff 2C is just a lot of fun. It just has this real juicy quality to it. Really, really lovely. and you can get quite modern kind of sounds, but you can also get some more old school kind of sounds out of it as well, more thrashy 80s, early 90s kind of tones, which is lovely too. I am hoping to very, very soon get my hands on a hand-built clone of a Mark amp very, very soon, and obviously it'll be going straight on the channel as soon as I do. But that is entirely down to how much I love the Fluff 2C sim. Now what's interesting about that one in particular is it actually has 2 channels from the Mark 2C. I also believe it has a channel from the JP2C as well, which is the shred channel, and that is really nice for leads, just like buttery, creamy, smooth leads, just lovely. It's pretty much my go-to amp sim for leads at the present. And number 2 is the Oracle. I'm a huge fan of orange amps. So I've always wanted to get a nice amp sim that did justice to the Rockaverb, and there just wasn't one. And when Fluff Roots first came out, the first amp sim that ML Soundlab brought out, I straight away said I want a Rockaverb, and it took a little while, but eventually Mikko made a Rockaverb plugin, and finally there is a plugin that does orange amps justice. So that is absolutely delicious. Again, I had an opportunity to play through a real Rockaverb last year, and it's really interesting to hear how incredibly similar it gets. It's easily the best, in my opinion, Rockaverb sim on the market. It's the only one really that I would enjoy using. What I think is really interesting as well with this one is, like, if you have it on the kind of medium gain and boosted it, it sounds typically overdriven like a British sounding amp should do, but when you really max out the master and the gain, it goes into real sort of dirty, fuzzy kind of territory, which the real Rockaverb does as well, and that's really, really tasty. So yeah, I'm a big fan of that. I do, again, like, the Rockaverb is a bucket list amp for me. I would love to get one at some point, so I'm hoping that one day I'll be able to get it. It's down on the list. So yeah, in the meantime, if I want some really filthy orange tones, I'm either using my Dark Terror for out-of-the-box reamps, or I'm using ML Oracle, which is absolutely delicious. And it probably comes as no surprise what is number 1. As someone who grew up listening to a lot of Andy Sleep and Colin Richardson records, those guitar tones, so we're talking like Ascendancy by Trivium, The Poison by Bullet My Valentine, we're also talking Shogun by Trivium, In Waves, lots of Trivium, and those kind of tones, and like Machine Head and Killswitch Engage and stuff. And the big thing that kind of is consistent across all of those is, of course, the PV5150. So ML block letter is absolutely delicious, in my opinion. Fun fact, I believe I was the one who named that one. I actually, when Mikko got himself a 5150, I said, amped block letter when? And he decided to go with that name. So that's kind of cool. But yeah, it absolutely does the thing. It does sound like 2005 metalcore, which to me is peak guitar tones. Get yourself an EMG 81, run into this, do your classic Tube Screamer settings on the drive, and away you go. You can't really argue with it. It's perfect. It's really, really good. I love it. I actually at the moment have a PV5150 in the studio. It doesn't belong to me. I'm actually borrowing it, which is great. And I've been messing about with that and messing about with ML block letter, and again, they're really, really, really close. They really, really do the job. I hope you find that useful. If you have any further questions, hit the comments below. I have actually tried out all of the ML SoundLab amp sims, and again, these are my top 5, the ones that I like at the moment. That may well change when new ones come out onto the market, but if there's any in particular you have any questions about that I didn't mention today, then feel free to hit the comments and I'll answer those. And if there's any in particular that you'd really like to see me review and showcase on the channel, then maybe we could do that in the future as well. So thank you very much for watching. If you like what you've seen, give us a cheeky thumb, hit the subscribe button, and we are back in action, so there'll be more videos coming very, very soon.